How to create a criteria for an employee recognition award. Do you have an employee recognition award in your company, but the criterion nomination process just creates confusion? And what creates even more confusion is when people see who gets the actual award and like, wait, why are they getting it? I don't even know what we're recognizing here. But that's what often happens when we don't have a clear criteria. And it creates jealousy, confusion, frustration. People think it's political. They stop nominating people. And then all that time, energy, and effort that goes into the award program doesn't have its intended impact. So in this video, I'm gonna explain what role awards should play in our culture building and employee recognition strategy, why it's important that we have a clear criteria in the first place, and a simple framework that you can use to define your award criteria so your awards have their intended impact. If we haven't met before, hi, I'm Chris Littlefield. I'm the founder of a company called Beyond Thank You, and I spent 20 plus years training leaders at top companies around the world, from Colgate-Palmolive to the United Nations, in the skill of day-to-day appreciation recognition, to be able to see, hear, and value people so they show up and do their best work. And although I focus on the day-to-day skill the most, awards do play a role in our culture building and our employee recognition strategy. Now, what role is it they play? Public awards, what they do is they give senior leaders an opportunity to publicly define, reinforce, and celebrate the actions, attitudes, and behaviors most critical to our success. It sends a signal to people that these are the things that matter most. This is what good looks like as an individual, as a team. These are the role models that if you want to do that well, and if we want to win, we need more of this. And that's why it's so important that we have a clear criteria. Because when we don't, sadly, many companies unintentionally reinforce and amplify behaviors that they don't want. Now, I think one of the most common examples of this is when you have somebody in sales who consistently has great numbers, but they're just a jerk, and you fill in the blank of whatever word you want to use to describe them. You probably know their name already. And then all of a sudden they get these great results and they always get the award, but they are toxic to work with. They maybe steal leads from other people. They throw people under the bus, and they're just miserable. But the challenge is when we give them an award, we send a message to everyone else. Well, see, it doesn't matter all those values we have up on the award that we say are important, because this is what's going to get rewarded and awarded here. So oftentimes it sabotages the very thing that we're trying to build, often unintentionally. And that's why it's so important that we have a clear criteria for our awards. Now, how do we set that? Well, you can simply use the SEEN framework. So S is for specific behaviors. We don't want to just say things like teamwork. Well, what does that actually look like? Well, maybe somebody jumps in to help other people, or maybe someone helps mentor other employees consistently, or maybe somebody shows up every Wednesday and cooks cookies for everybody in the office. This is somebody in my wife's office, and it brings everyone together and creates community, and that's exactly what we need, and that's an example of living our values. And so this comes to E, which is people need examples. We need to show people examples of what are some of those behaviors in action. So when they're nominating people, they know the kind of examples that you need in that nomination process. If you don't have examples, a great exercise is to go out to those departments. Maybe it's your call center, maybe it's your nurses. Talk to the managers, talk to the individual contributors who've been there for a long time, and ask them for examples that you can include in this framework or this criteria that you're pulling together. So now this leads us to the next one, which is E, which is effect, or also should probably be impact, but E works better for SEEN as an acronym, okay? So what was the effect or impact of what this person did? And so we want to show examples of what that is as well, because we want to make sure that our criteria is these things actually had an impact, because maybe somebody did this thing, but it actually hurt our business. Well, we don't want to recognize and amplify that. So what is the positive effect or impact? And then show examples of what those things are as well. That could be to numbers, that could be to culture, that could be to community, that could be to patient experience, that could be to the reviews online, that could speed things up, slow things down, whatever is important for your business, but get clear on the impact that you're looking for. And then the last one is N, noticeable consistency. Okay? Because many times, and I do want to give the caveat, sometimes somebody does something exceptional. Maybe they catch a major safety risk and it saved you tons of money and tons of problems. Or maybe somebody created a great innovation and that saved people time. And there may be one-off things that people do. But what we're really looking for is consistent behavior over time. So we're looking for noticeable consistency. And so when we're asking people, and we're putting that criteria together, that people do this behavior consistently over time is what we're actually looking for. So there is your SEEN framework. So we've got SEEN, which is specific behaviors, E, which is examples, E or I is effect or impact, and then N is noticeable consistency. So now that we've pulled this together and you want to engage other people in that process, we want to put this on a one-page document or someplace on our site. And then you're not done there when you have the criteria. We need to go out and educate people. You need to educate your senior leaders and say, hey, we're going to have this award. We're going to focus on this throughout the next year. And so I want you to be talking this up in your town halls and calling out and asking, who are people who do this? So people are starting to think about it. Because an award is the end of the process. It's what we do leading up to it that embeds that behavior and why we're doing it in the first place. So get people talking about it. And then when it's nomination time, create a video, get some people talking about it, sharing examples of what people have done in the past, right? And have them thinking about it. And then remind them that nominating somebody, and please check out my other video on how to submit a nomination, and we'll put a link to that in the video description. But remember that nominating somebody is celebrating them. Nominating a team is celebrating that team. And that's the kind of thing that has people feel a part of something, that creates that belonging, that community, keeps people engaged, and helps all of us show up and do our best work. Hope you found this video helpful. And if you did, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. If you have specific questions about it, put it in the chat below or reach out to me at beyondthankyou.com. And as always, thank you for being the kind of person who cares about creating a culture where people feel valued every day. Take care. Have an amazing day.